Hi, I'm Annabelle. We're back with another episode on the Ace for Waves podcast, guys. And today is going to be a fun one, I think. I probably said that on the last episode in which I gave early NFL predictions. We're still in football season, so we're going to continue down the football line for the next few episodes or so until I can kind of put together some more content and some newer content. But it's only September 14th. We still have a lot of months left to go of the football season. We have regular season stuff still until we go into the postseason in January. Obviously, the Super Bowl, February. So we still have a little bit of ways to go. At least for the month of September, however, we're going to stick down kind of the football line. We'll do the NFL, some NFL stuff, maybe some college football stuff, since that has also kicked off as of last week. But I'm not sure yet. But today's episode, however, we did early NFL predictions last week. This week, however, I've done a few of these before on earlier episodes on the podcast where I would make tier lists and rank either players or rank teams and put them on to my customized tier rankings of sorts, so to speak. That's what I'm going to do today. That's what we're going to talk about today, but it's with NFL quarterbacks. I made a tier list. I already have all the quarterbacks on the tier list already. I didn't want to kind of talk about it and drag players of where I think they should go. I felt like that would take a bit too long. I don't want to make super long episodes for you guys because I know watching either 40, 50 minutes of a video can be long, and especially if it's not something that you're interested in, it can be really hard to stay focused at. So I already put all the quarterbacks where I wanted to put them on my tier list. I will, however, discuss why they got the ranking or the grade that they did from me. And we'll just talk just quarterbacks in general, what I think makes a good quarterback, some of my criteria for where they ended up on the list. And the tier list is subject to change at some point. I made it early on before week 2 of the NFL season. I am coming maybe from a little bit of bias after seeing some of these quarterbacks, the way that they played in week 1. I did kind of take that into consideration, but for the majority, I looked at all of their careers so far. It's a little bit harder to do with the rookie quarterbacks and quarterbacks who have only been in the league for either 1 or 2 years. So I would just like for you guys to keep that in mind when you see or and hear me talk about my criteria for the rankings. Um, like I said, this is very early on. We're only in week 2 of the season. It is Saturday as of me uploading this, so week 2 is tomorrow. So some of these players might get promoted or might get downvoted into the tier list. Who knows? If this goes well, maybe I'll do another one of these mid-season, either week 8 or 9, do like a kind of mid-season tier update, and maybe we'll do like a regular season final tier ranking as well in December or something. But let's get into this. I think I've been talking way too long. I'm going to show you guys what my tier list looks like now. You can see my screen. And I guess if you're listening to this, you're not going to be able to see my tier list. Maybe I'll put it out in the future. But if you're watching this video, you can see kind of the tiers stuff. I have 5 categories. We have elite, which is the best of the best. We have great, we have good, we have okay, and then we have needs improvement. I guess if instead of looking at just elite, great, good, okay, needs improvement, you can also kind of say like grades of A, B, C, D, F, which looking in hindsight now, I guess I should have put more quarterbacks in the elite category if I was actually going A, B, C, D, F. But we're gonna keep this for now. I can always go back, make adjustments, make changes, etc., etc. But let's start with the quarterbacks who made it into my elite category. We have Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. I Football fans can probably conclude why I put Patrick Mahomes in the elite category. He has won back-to-back Super Bowls the past 2 years. I think he's actually a 3-time Super Bowl champion, if I'm not mistaken. He is arguably one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of his generation so far. His talent is insane. The way that he can make plays, not just with his arms, but with his legs. He has a bunch of different options to throw the ball to. And he's someone that you can trust in little moments and in big moments as well. I also just think the Chiefs unit as a whole has grown over the last few years under Andy Reid. Last season, the start of last season probably didn't start off the way that they were hoping, but the way that they came back and bounced back and marched their way through the AFC playoffs into the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl in overtime. A large part of that had to do with Patrick Mahomes. So that's why he's in my elite category. Lamar Jackson also made it into my elite category. And I'll be honest, I had some trouble debating back and forth whether Lamar deserved to be in the elite conversation or if he deserved to be in the tiers with the great quarterbacks. And I think the main reason why I chose to put him into the elite category is the way that he has kind of changed the narrative surrounding black quarterbacks in the NFL with the way that his physique is built. You take one look at him. I don't think you would expect him to be a starting quarterback for any football team. But Lamar has proved his haters wrong. He has proved his doubters wrong. The Ravens are a good football team as well. I think Lamar has even more potential with his legs, making plays with his legs than Patrick Mahomes does. That's where I kind of give Lamar the edge there. But they're both really great quarterbacks. Another reason why I debated putting Lamar into the elite conversation as well is the playoff postseason record. Lamar does not have a great postseason record compared to Patrick Mahomes, for example. In fact, I believe he has one of the worst playoff records out of any starting quarterback in the league, aside from maybe one or two other quarterbacks who we will discuss later on. But I can't, the reason why I have never chosen to put place the Ravens in Super Bowl contention, and the reason why I do hesitate to say that the Ravens are Super Bowl contenders is because I don't think we have seen playoff Lamar yet to the best of his ability. We haven't seen Lamar show up in big moments like other quarterbacks have, but he does have a great overall regular season record. He did make it to the AFC Championship last season, ultimately losing to the Chiefs. I'll be I'll I'll be honest. I believe the Ravens should have beaten the Chiefs last year in the AFC Championship, but Lamar did not look good. The Ravens overall didn't look good, but neither did the Chiefs to a certain extent. I think if Lamar can break that narrative and get the Ravens not only past the AFC Championship, but into a Super Bowl, that's when more people might feel justified in putting and ranking him amongst the elite quarterbacks. But for now, he is in the my elite tier. The Ravens did lose to the Chiefs last week in week 1, but again, I can't just go based off of one game, so to speak. I have to take all past seasons into consideration as well, take last season into consideration, and there's a reason why Lamar Jackson won MVP at the end of the regular season. So those two quarterbacks are in the elite category. Let's move into the great category. So for saying they are elite and getting A's, I'll give them A pluses. A pluses, and then we'll go great can be A's as well, because I don't know how I feel giving two quarterbacks an A and then giving the next line of quarterbacks B's, because I do think they are better. They deserve better than just a B grade. But Patrick gets a 99% on the A plus, and then Lamar I would give a 97%. Let's move into great quarterbacks. We have 8 quarterbacks who made it into the great tier. They are Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud. We'll start with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is the starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. He is the most recent NFC quarterback to have won a Super Bowl back in 2021. If you recall me saying the Chiefs won back-to-back Super Bowls the past 2 years, Matthew Stafford's the most recent NFC quarterback to have made it to a Super Bowl and won. He won with the Los Angeles Rams. He did get acquired via trade to the Rams. He was the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions back when the Lions were not necessarily very good. But knowing that Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl before, the Rams did make it to the postseason. I believe they made it to the postseason last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they did make it to the postseason last year. The memories are starting to come back to me, but he is a great quarterback. I don't think we saw his so-called greatness back in Detroit, but with the Los Angeles Rams, it's really come to light, and he deserves to be in that great conversation, because there's not a lot of starting quarterbacks in the league at the moment who have won a Super Bowl, aside from, Patrick Mahomes the past 2 years. The reason why I can't put him in the elite conversation, however, is he has now won multiple Super Bowls. He doesn't necessarily have the talent that Patrick and Lamar do, but he's still great. He's still better than quite a few other starting quarterbacks in the league. So in the A, I give him like a 90. I would give him a 95%. As for Joe Burrow is another quarterback in the AFC, like Patrick and Lamar. Joe Burrow has been to a Super Bowl. In fact, his most recent Super Bowl that he's been to was the Super Bowl against the Rams, where he ultimately lost to Matthew Stafford and his team. Joe Burrow is a unique situation because he has the ability to be up there with the conversations of Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow is a great talent. He has good arm strength. He can make plays with his legs. He can improvise, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy the past couple of seasons. I think where we really saw peak Joe Burrow was during that 2021 campaign where the Bengals beat the Chiefs to advance to the Super Bowl. We haven't seen that version of Joe Burrow come into fruition the past couple of seasons. I know he's had some injuries in the past that have kind of limited his play time with the Bengals, but I if I were to give like an honest opinion, I feel confident in saying that Joe Burrow could very well be the next AFC quarterback to win a Super Bowl. The Bengals have the pieces right in place. They do I think there could be some little tiny adjustments to make the team like they were in the 2021 season. Obviously, players come and go, so that's hard. But constructing a team, or I should say, constructing an offense around Joe Burrow to allow him to shine and allow him to show off his natural ability is the best thing that the Bengals could do if they want to make it to another Super Bowl. But Joe Burrow has been great all seasons that he's been in the NFL. He's been the Bengals starting quarterback for a reason. He was great in college as well. I want to say he did win a national championship in college with LSU. So we saw what he could do in college. We've seen what he can do in the NFL. It's just those taking the seasons and kind of expanding and improving upon it. So I would give him the same grade as I would Matthew Stafford, just a 95%. He's right there. I feel it deep in my bones that he's going to be the next AFC quarterback to make it to a Super Bowl and win. Next quarterback, Josh Allen. Josh Allen, like Joe Burrow, is a unique situation as well. Josh is the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills in the AFC conference. Josh has made it to the playoffs before multiple times, but he has also lost in the playoffs in games that the Bills should have won. If you recall last season's AFC divisional round, the Bills played the Chiefs. It was a very close game. It came down to a missed field goal and a missed catch by Stephon Diggs that could have sealed the game for the Bills. The Bills were right there. They should have beat the Chiefs, just like the Ravens should have beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. However, that did not happen. But Josh Allen is, I would actually rank Josh Allen ahead of Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford if I could. I've seen the way that Josh Allen plays. He looked like the best quarterback last week in week 1. He looked like the best quarterback in the league when the Dolphins played the Bills on Thursday Night Football. He has just a charisma and a poise to him that you just can't help but root for. The Bills have been so close so many years, but in this league where competition is at its highest and you see more quarterbacks enter the league fresh out of college and such, it will get harder to kind of grow your network and build your team around you when you get to a certain age. Now, I'm not saying that Josh Allen is an old person at all, not saying that in the slightest bit, but we have seen young quarterbacks with great potential use that potential and take off into this unbelievable talent. But Josh Allen for me gets a grade of a 95.5%. I know that he has not made it to a Super Bowl like Stafford and Burrow have, but I think he's been there. He's just been so close the past couple of seasons. He got closer to a Super Bowl appearance than the Rams did last season. He got closer to AFC Championship game than the Bengals did with Joe Burrow last season. So And this year might be the year that we see the Bills utilize their weapons, grow, expand their confidence, and maybe take it all the way. Next quarterback, Brock Purdy. Brock is the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And I know that there's going to be some controversy as to whether Brock is considered in the great conversation or should be considered just good. My ultimate take on that is Brock is a great quarterback. We saw Brock be a great quarterback last season in his first official starting season as a starting quarterback. He led the NFL in almost every single category that you could possibly imagine for a quarterback. He led in completion percentage, I believe. He led in yards after catch in percentage, yards per attempt, most yards in the air, all that stuff. Brock is a great quarterback who flourishes great in the system that he's put in. And I want to help dispose of this, this rumor and this narrative that Brock only flourishes well in Kyle Shanahan's system. Every quarterback is put essentially into a system, whether you like that or not. Every quarterback has a system that works well for them, that their head coach and the general manager have kind of constructed and drawn out the past few years or so, or the past seasons that the quarterback has been there. Kyle Shanahan has done a great job supplying Brock with talent around him at the running back position, at the tight end position, at the wide receiver position, yada, yada, yada. But every quarterback has a system to a certain degree. Jalen Hurts has a system in Philadelphia that worked well for him. Matthew Stafford has a system in Los Angeles. Dak Prescott has a system with the Dallas Cowboys. And I would say even Lamar has a system that he's put in. Every quarterback has a system. It's just how they use the system to make plays, to how they use the system kind of to their own advantage, if you will. But Brock is a great quarterback. He went to the NFC Championship in the year that he was plugged in deep as a starter because the other two previous quarterbacks had season-ending injuries happen to them, which sucks for those quarterbacks. I can say their names. That it sucks that Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo were both out with season-ending injuries during the 2022 season. It's a bad thing that happened to them, but Brock was thrown into that system in week 12 or week 13. He led the 49ers to the NFC Championship game where he got hurt on the opening drive, tore his UCL, was out for a majority of the game, and the 49ers lost to the Eagles, who then went to the Super Bowl, who then lost to the Chiefs. Last season, in his first official starting season, Brock continued to win. That's an important detail that I shouldn't leave out. Brock won all the games that he was the quarterback during the 2022 season until the NFC Championship game where he got hurt. He had a 5-game winning streak at the start of the 2023 season. The 49ers did lose 3 straight games during kind of the mid-season stretch, but those were also games where Brock got concussed in one game. The 49ers as a whole just didn't look great in another game. And then the third game, I don't really know what happened, but they still found ways to win after that 3-game losing streak. They did lose a couple more along the way, but Brock led his team to another NFC championship. They won their playoff games. They made it to the NFC Championship game, won that, and then advanced to the Super Bowl where the 49ers had to play the Chiefs. And if you watch the Super Bowl, you can concur what that final result was. But Brock is great. Brock's great. I believe that he has always been great. Last season, we kind of saw him take that greatness to a new level. We saw the way that the media criticized him, called him a game manager instead of a game changer. I think every quarterback manages the game in their own unique way, and every quarterback can make a change. That every quarterback has a moment where they can be a game changer and change the outcome of a game. So I don't like putting labels like game manager, game changer labels on that, but for a grade for Brock, I would give him a 94. I'd give him 95% as well. Maybe 90. Actually, I'll go 94%. Jared, next quarterback. I'm trying to breeze through these guys. I know it might be taking a while, but I'll try to go a little bit faster. Jared Goff, quarterback for the Lions. Lions made it to the NFC Championship game last season, lost to the 49ers. Goff was the starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. Once upon a time, him and Matthew Stafford kind of got traded to opposing teams, but Jared Goff, I believe, is a I believe he's a good quarterback as well. The Lions last year really took me by surprise with the way that they were able to be in tight games and come out with wins in some of those games. I do remember the game against the Cowboys, a couple days before New Year's Eve, where we had the whole fourth quarter controversy and drama of whether or not a 2-point conversion should have counted or not. But that's a story. That's a topic for another day. As for a grade, I give Jared Goff a 93%. The Lions should have beaten the 49ers in last year's NFC Championship game. They blew a 17-point lead. You can't blow leads like that. Some of that had to do with fumbles on the running backs end, but Jared Goff also made some questionable throws and decisions that could have changed the way that the game turned out. So I give Goff a 93%. Jalen Hurts, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Hurts has had a good NFL career in the years that he's been the starting quarterback for the Eagles. The Eagles made it to the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, where you know that they lost. But Jalen Hurts has always had this massive, I shouldn't say massive, but Jalen Hurts has always stood out as a quarterback. He can run the ball like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson can. He can make plays, but the Eagles started off last season 10-1, best team in the NFL. They then proceeded to lose the last 6 of their 7 games. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals, who are not a good team at all. And when I take a look at Jalen Hurts and I take a look at the Eagles unit, there's no excuse why you should lose your last 6 out of 7 games, especially to teams that you were predicted to win against and that you should have won against. I can't really defend the Eagles there. The Eagles did make it to the first round of the postseason, where they lost to the Buccaneers to a final score of 32-9. They didn't score a single touchdown offensively or defensively. And that to me is a worse playoff loss than the next quarterback on after Jalen Hurts. But Jalen gets a grade of a 91% from me, just because you can't lose 6 out of your last regular season games and then lose that badly in the postseason to a team that you should have beaten as well. Dak Prescott. I know if my brother is watching this, you're about to hear me talk about your quarterback for your favorite team. Dak Prescott is the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak has been at the face of many controversies and many media uh, outlets and opinions. He did just become the highest paid NFL quarterback in history about a week ago, where the Cowboys extended him for 4 years on, I don't even remember how much millions of dollars it was, but it was a lot, and it's the most out of any starting quarterback in the NFL. The narrative surrounding Dak, just like Lamar, is that Dak has had an incredible regular season record I would say, the past 3 seasons. Under Mike McCarthy, we saw him flourish a tiny bit under Jason Garrett, but I think most of Dak's improvements and most of Dak's success has come under Mike McCarthy in the regular season. The postseason, however, is a different story. Dak has one of the worst playoff records in history for a Dallas Cowboy, but also under any starting quarterback in the NFL. The Cowboys are known as a regular season team. They are not known as a postseason team. We have not seen the Cowboys make it to a conference championship since 1990. Now, there's other quarterbacks, I shouldn't say other quarterbacks. There are other teams who have a longer drought than that, but Dak, we haven't seen playoff Dak yet. I'm sorry, we just haven't. But taking his regular season success and his regular season records, factoring that kind of outweighs his postseason record to me. But Dak gets 90%. He gets A minus. I can't put him ahead of Jalen Hurts, who has been to the Super Bowl. I can't put him ahead of Brock Purdy, a quarterback who beat him in the regular season and postseason. And obviously, he's not up there with Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. But he gets a 90% for me, which I hope is fair and hope that's reasonable. The final quarterback in the great category is CJ Stroud. Now, CJ is only in his second year in the NFL as the quarterback for the Houston Texans, but CJ Stroud just went off as a rookie. He broke many regular season rookie quarterback records. He took this Texans team that probably has never seen the playoffs in the past 25, 30 years or so, and got them to the playoffs. They did lose. I think they lost in the divisional round of the playoffs there. I don't think they were first round exits, but he got his team to the postseason as a rookie. Not a lot of other rookie quarterbacks have been able to do so. He's the first rookie, I believe, to win a postseason game, if I'm not mistaken, as a regular starting quarterback. Brock did win a postseason game in his rookie campaign, but he wasn't the starting quarterback throughout that whole season. So that record does belong to CJ Stroud in that conversation. But CJ's great. The Texans, in my eyes, are going to be great again this year if CJ can grow from last year and work on his arm talent, work on moving the ball better, making accurate throws, which he already did. But if he can throw into tight window spaces with more accuracy, he could very well be up in the conversations of Joe Burrow, Josh Allen in a couple years. You never know. But those are the quarterbacks in my great tier. Let's move to the good tier. Oh, if I had to give CJ a grade, I give CJ a 90% as well, along with Dak. There were some moments where he did struggle a little bit, but he might move he might move up to the 94, 95% by the midseason of this year. Who knows? The good categories. Joe, there's 5 quarterbacks in that I put in my good tier. Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa, Baker Mayfield, and Geno Smith. We're gonna breeze through these pretty quickly as well, so we can get to the end of the tier list. But Jordan Love, I give him an 89%. I almost put him in the great tier. Jordan Love, he's not a rookie. He's been in the league. I think this is his 4th year in the NFL, but he became a starting quarterback last season for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers made it to the postseason. They beat the Cowboys in good fashion the first round of the playoffs. They embarrassed the Cowboys, and that's not to say it lightly. They did embarrass the Dallas Cowboys. Made it to the divisional round where they lost to the 49ers. Jordan Love did struggle in that game, but so did Brock. I can't really put one quarterback higher than the other in that sense. They both did struggle a little bit with ball accuracy, with ball movement. It just so happened that Jordan Love threw a game-ending interception to end the game that and ended the Packers' chances of making it to the championship game. But Jordan Love gets an 89% for me. He looked good last year, obviously, as a first-year starting quarterback. That does come with a little bit of pressure and comes with a little bit of media attention on you. But I thought he did a great job handling himself. Week 1 last week, he did exit the game with an injury. I don't know how long he'll be out with that injury, but we'll see how the Packers do without their starting quarterback for however many weeks he's out. Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets quarterback, he gets a B from me only because I can't go based off of his career with the Green Bay Packers because that spans over multiple years. I can only judge him off the seasons and years that he's been the Jets starting quarterback, which has not been very long. He had a season-ending injury last season that happened to him in week 1, where he tore his Achilles. He did not look that good against the 49ers on Monday Night Football of last week, but he's still a good quarterback. He's a future Hall of Fame candidate quarterback. But there's other quarterbacks who have made it to more Super Bowls. There's other quarterbacks who have made it to more divisional championship games more recently than he has. Tua Tagovailoa, I put him in the good category because Tua's arm strength is not to be played with at all. He can make long and he can make deep throws that just has your jaw drop to the ground. Tua is another quarterback that's kind of struggled in the postseason when the Dolphins have made it to the postseason. Tua also has had history with injuries in the past. You've probably heard about his 3rd concussion that he sustained in this week's Thursday Night Football game against the Bills. But Tua's a good quarterback. He's beaten good teams. He's also lost to bad teams, but every quarterback has done that. I didn't see a reason why he deserved to be in the okay tier list, but he does have potential to grow and has potential to move up to that great tier. Baker Mayfield, I would give Tua like an 84%. Same with, and I give Rodgers probably an 85%. Baker Mayfield gets 82% grade for me. He was the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He's now the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He got his team to the postseason last year where they beat the Eagles 32-9. Did lose in the divisional round of the playoffs, but again, Baker stood out in college when he was quarterback for Oklahoma. He has since transferred his college years and expertise into the NFL, but I still need to see a lot of work from Baker, but he's still a good quarterback. Same with Tua. Geno Smith just barely squeezed into the good category for me. I would give Geno probably an 80%. The Seahawks have been right there in the past, teetering on the line of a postseason berth and a good regular season recap. The Eagles have beaten good teams. They've lost to bad teams. I think Geno Smith has done what he can do with the weapons around him, utilizing it to the best of his ability. I wouldn't say Geno is a great quarterback, but he's still good in the sense that he has gotten his team to he's led his team to postseason berths, and he's led his team to some good wins in the past couple of years. Okay tier list. The okay tier. We have Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence, Derek Carr, Gardner Minshew, Justin Herbert, Will Levis, and Sam Darnold. Now, some of these quarterbacks you might not be familiar with. I don't think I'm going to talk about every single quarterback in that okay tier, but I will talk about a couple. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was a quarterback for what used to be the Redskins, I believe. They changed their name now to the Washington Commanders. He was quarterback over there. He was a quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings last season, and now he's the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. I just haven't seen Kirk Cousins be Kirk Cousins in the past 4 years or so, but he's still an okay quarterback. I want to say he has a worse playoff record than Dak Prescott does. So that's something to also keep in mind. But he's okay. I can't really put him in good. Same with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was good in college, but I don't think we've seen a good Trevor Lawrence with the Jacksonville Jaguars so far. I might be wrong on that. I might be a little biased when I say that, but that's kind of what I've observed. The Jaguars have gotten better in the years that Trevor Lawrence has been their starting quarterback, but it just hasn't translated well at the end of the regular season heading into the postseason. Justin Herbert. I think you can compare Justin Herbert to CJ Stroud. No matter how confusing that may be, but the thing with Justin Herbert is that he's the quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers have gone through a couple of coaches the past couple seasons and years, but I don't think he's been given time to develop. They haven't developed Justin Herbert in what he can really and what his true potential can be. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to bring out the best of Justin Herbert, and this could be Justin Herbert's year where he just takes off and shows us that he's always been the quarterback that the media has made him out to be. But we haven't seen that yet. But I do believe that Jim Harbaugh will bring out the best of him, and we'll see him get on the big stage and shine underneath the bright lights of that. But I can't put him in the good tier, and I certainly can't put him in the great tier at the moment. So those are just a few of those quarterbacks. The final category of my tier list, I guess, just we went A, B's, C's. Kirk Cousins, I think it's 78%. I would give Trevor Lawrence probably a 75%, and Justin Herbert maybe like a 73, 74%. The final category, the needs improvement category. Now, For those listening, you definitely can't see the long list of quarterbacks who made it onto this tier. But for those watching, I said there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 quarterbacks who made it into my need improvement tier. I do want to point out that a few of these quarterbacks are in their first year into the NFL. I'm only going based off of their performance in week 1 with some of these. That includes Caleb Williams, that includes Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, the Drake Mayo. I want to say it was Drake. I think it's Drake Mayo for the New England Patriots. I don't know if I remember. I don't know if I put him on here or not, but that's where I'm coming from on that. Again, subject to change as the weeks progress. But I'm gonna talk about Kyler Murray's in this tier. The Cardinals have never really been good the past couple of seasons. Kyler was great in college. But again, there's a difference between playing college football and playing professional football. I just have not seen Kyler Murray shine under a big game and under the bright lights. So that's why he's in the needs improvement category. Same with Daniel Jones. I think I would grade Daniel Jones the lowest out of all 32 quarterbacks on this tier list. It's just he's never looked good, and injury has some factor in that. But with on the Giants, you can't say Daniel Jones is even a good quarterback. You just haven't seen that from him. And he is getting up there in age. There will be a time where he has to think about maybe stepping away from the game of football, but I just I can't see that. I can't see him moving up on the tier list unless the Giants pull out major upsets and wins. Deshaun Watson also needs improvement category. We have not seen primetime Deshaun Watson until the last time we saw that was the 2021 season. And that's the last time he ever looked good. The Browns did lose to the Dallas Cowboys. Deshaun Watson did not stand out in that game. He looked pretty rough in that game. Dak Prescott definitely outplayed him, but the Dallas Cowboys as a team outplayed the Cleveland Browns. They found a way to go up against the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL and just pick apart their defense and find ways to score against them. One more quarterback I want to talk about quickly before we conclude the episode is the Carolina Panthers starting quarterback Bryce Young. I'm a Panthers fan. I can say in full confidence and in full transparency that the Panthers have sucked the past year and still look like they are going to stink this season as well. And I can say that because it's number 1, it's true. And number 2, because I'm a Panthers fan. But again, I don't think Bryce was placed in an environment where the coaches and the general managers allowed him to grow and allowed him to develop. I think they just kind of threw him in there and said, go ahead and play. The Panthers fired their coach mid-season last year, got a new coach. That coach was ultimately fired as well. The Panthers have a new coach this year, and they still managed to lose by 5 touchdowns and a safety to the Saints in week 1, which was very embarrassing and very sad, and just I don't know what I don't know what I was expecting. I hoped that they would lose by maybe 2 touchdowns. Didn't expect them to lose by 37 points. And there's no excuse. I can't defend the Panthers on that. So that's where Bryce Young goes into the need improvement category. For that reason that the Panthers didn't even blow, just that the Panthers lost by 37 points. And that's that. So guys, that concludes today's episode of the podcast. Thanks for listening, for watching. I know it might not be a lot of your guys' cup of tea, but I hope you kind of got a little bit more understanding of where the quarterbacks are on my tier list. Again, if this episode does well, maybe we can do another one of these in the mid season, end of the regular season, heading into the postseason stuff. But I had fun with this. This was kind of fun, Dane, to talk to you guys about quarterbacks and analyzing their performances last season, previous seasons, and judging them, which is what I did towards the end of this episode. But some of them may be justified, some of it maybe not. Who knows? It's all up for debate around here. I don't have a definitive schedule yet for the next couple of episodes. I know I said I wanted to talk about more football stuff, but I'll take a look and see. I don't want to make it entirely about football. I do know I kind of want to expand the topic into more broader categories because there is other sports out there besides football. I haven't done life advice segment in a while. Might bring those back. I don't know how I don't know how consistent I'll be with uploading episodes and uploading content. Again, I am a student first. That has to come first. Academics work first. This is just a fun little side project that I have fun doing. But again, we're going to end the episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.